Hello there, Kissable Misters. It's your boy B3, back with another fantastic graphic novel review. Today I wanted to talk about All-Star Superman, the Deluxe Edition. Yes, I have reviewed the Basic Edition before. The Basic Edition is my physical copy. The Deluxe Edition is my digital copy. Many longtime listeners, because these are listenables, may know that All-Star Superman is one of my favorite Superman stories ever. It actually is my favorite Superman stories ever. I know it's a cliche pick, but there's a reason, you know? Great stuff. Let me read you the back of the book. Combining their singular talents to create a new and brilliant version of the Man of Steel legendary comics storytellers Grant Morrison. I would like them to write more of this, Morrison of this. Stupid. And Frank quietly, he did quietly a good job on this. Reunite with their WE3 collaborator Jamie Grant. I wish they would grant me more of this Superman. Last one, I promise. For one of the greatest Superman stories ever imagined. Heartfelt, poignant, and filled with nods and winks to a bygone era of classic comics. All-Star Superman is a modern masterpiece befitting the timeless icon at its center. The renowned series returns to hardcover in this deluxe edition, collecting the original 12-issue series and a gallery of behind-the-scenes extras. Yes. So, if you don't care about the behind-the-scenes extras, you might just want to save a little money with the standard, if the story is all you care about. I got it for $1.99 on sale, holiday sale, so, you know, might as well spring for the deluxe at that point. Now, this is the Superman story to me. It's a all-star book, and if a book says all-star on the front, that typically means that it's not in continuity. It's its own continuity. So, really, to understand and appreciate this book, you really just need a basic understanding of Superman. And actually, wouldn't even be a bad introduction to Superman, to be completely honest. There's like a foreword and stuff that you can read and check out. And you get the classic doomed planet, desperate scientists, last hope, kindly couple, Superman. Very great. You see Lex Luthor sabotaging a mission to the sun. By the way, I just want to say, while I'm thinking about it, the animated film adaptation of this is also incredible. Dwayne McDuffie was the absolute GOAT. He was the only one that could pull off adapting it to film, but there were several stories that he cut. But he got the meat of it. So Superman flies to help save this mission to the sun, but Lex wanted him to save them. This is all Lex Luthor's doing, because being too close to his power source filled Superman with too much power. So basically, his cells are so full of solar energy that they're exploding. He's dying. Lex did it. He killed Superman. But it's giving Superman new powers, making him more powerful than ever before. And he's going to use his last little bit of time on Earth to save as many people as possible, but also to, you know, reveal his true identity to Lois Lane, who doesn't even believe him at first. Because she tried to prove that he and Clark Kent were the same before, and was foiled, which is a reference to a bunch of Silver Age books, I believe, where she's constantly trying to prove who he is. Great stuff, and you know Morrison and Quietly do amazing work together. This creative team has worked together on multiple things. They always do great work, and Morrison really also likes deep pulls, like characters and references to comics of bygone past, and you see a lot of that in this book, but it's not like in your face like, hey, remember this thing? You don't have to know everything to get it. We also see that Superman has become immune to kryptonite, but not the red sun radiation. So some time travelers tell him that he's going to perform some great feats, of which he does. Many great feats. But now that I'm talking about this book, there's another thing in it. There's a Jimmy Olsen story that was cut from the movie. And this Jimmy Olsen story, the Jimmy Olsen here in All-Star Superman, is the one that the Jimmy Olsen in the James Gunn 2025 Superman movie was based off of. The Jimmy Olsen here is a brilliant writer, a huge ladies' man, etc. That is the Jimmy Olsen this really proactive Jimmy. Because I feel like a lot of people, when they think Jimmy Olsen, they almost think of a loser. And I've never considered Jimmy a loser. Maybe naive and inexperienced, but never a loser. He's always been a fantastic photographer. He's always been willing to charge headfast into danger. He's always been kind. He's always been a good guy, you know? So, but I think a lot of people from older generations think of a more bumbling Jimmy Olsen from the comics, and people of my generation are probably thinking of the Superman the Animated Series Jimmy Olsen when they see him. So this confident, accomplished, honestly fuckable Jimmy Olsen is not what people are used to. But it's a story about black kryptonite that turns Superman not necessarily just evil, but into an opposite. And since he's good, he does become evil, but he's also smart, so he becomes dumb and all this other stuff. And Jimmy Olsen has to turn into Doomsday to fight him, which is pretty wild. Very wild, actually, quite factually. But we see Lex Luthor sentenced to death and Clark Kent interviewing him. We get a little performance from Parasite as well. And then another story that's not in the movie adaptation, when a bunch of Supermen from across the time stream come and help out Superman when he's young and still living in Smallville. We get a very some 1 million looking soups and stuff. It's very nice. And it's also very interesting because they're his descendants, but we know he's dying, so it kind of hints at something to come. And us as the reader, this is huge spoilers, if you hadn't already realized spoilers are happening, are like, oh, he'll be saved, his life will be saved, because these are his descendants. No, he still dies. Oh, I'm queefing. I'm queefing a lot, actually, quite factually. But there was a pretty cool reveal about his dad and etc. and stuff at the end. We also get a story with Bizarro World that's not in the movie adaptation. The Bizarros from their cube planet attack, and Superman gets stuck on said planet, but then there's like a Bizarro called Zibaro, who is a Bizarro that's more like the people on Earth. The Bizarro's Bizarro. It's very interesting, actually. He's like a poet, and he's intelligent and well-spoken, but he's so desperately lonely because all the Bizarros hate him. And I just gotta say, I don't like backwards talk Bizarros. I mean, yeah, it's just opposites. It's pretty easy to understand. That being said, it's just annoying. Backward talk Bizarros just annoy me. It's easy enough to understand, but I prefer more like caveman Bizarro, like you have once again in Superman the Animated Series. Anyhow, Zibaro helps Superman escape and kind of gives up his own escape in order to help Superman, which is very, very interesting. Very interesting indeed. It just shows how Superman really inspires everyone around him to be their absolute best. I mean, we see him reform other Kryptonians in this book. We see him find a new place for Kandor to live. He can't restore them back to their regular size, but he can find them a place that's also tiny. Works wonderfully. He can smash a giant robot while also saving a young girl from herself. It's Superman. It's just Superman at his absolute best. Before he dies, he even finds time to visit sick children. It's his last day on Earth. He's spending it visiting sick children. And he takes Kryptonian doctors from Kandor who are shrunk down, and they stay on Earth and go into, like, terminally ill children's bloodstreams and save their lives. It's incredible stuff. It's all incredible stuff. But then the final day approaches, and of course Lex Luthor breaks free. He survives his execution, and he gains the powers of Superman while trying to use the evil tyrant son Solaris to take Superman's powers. Which doesn't work. Just doesn't work. And then Superman has a fight with Lex. And since Superman is dying and becoming weaker, he has to be smart about it. Now, you see, the thing about the Superman-Lex Luthor rivalry is that everyone always mischaracterizes it as brain versus brawn. But that's not what it is. Superman isn't, nor has he ever been, just brawn. It's also intent. And Superman himself is incredibly intelligent. He knows many languages, advanced mathematics, has an intimate understanding of biology for multiple species from Earth and beyond. He is an incredibly intelligent man, genius level by our standards. Perhaps not by Kryptonian standards. Their brains are more evolved, technically, I guess. But that's not why he's a genius. It's because he cares and is willing to learn. And yeah, he has Kryptonian tech to make that learning easier. But this is a deeply intelligent man. But you see, it's not about brain versus brawn. It's about the type of person wielding the power. Superman is a good person. And for all intents and purposes, the amount of power he has should really corrupt him, but it doesn't. And Lex Luthor, arguably the smartest man on the planet, gets the powers of Superman for 24 hours. And he starts relying on them so heavily that he's not relying on his brain, which allows Superman to get the upper hand. Superman uses a gravity gun on him, and since since Lex's powers are time-based here, and gravity and time are connected via physics, the gravity gun actually makes him exert more power, etc., and he loses his powers before the 24 hours is up. Which kind of makes sense, actually, when you really think about it. We also see Superman have this vision with this ghost Jor-El, where Jor-El gives him this little speech, which was co-opted for the Man of Steel trailer. It's like they will stumble, they will fall, but in time they will join you in the sun. In time you'll help them achieve wonders. You know that speech from Man of Steel that Jor-El gives? That's from All-Star Superman. A lot of people, I feel like, don't realize that, but it is. It's from All-Star Superman. This is one of the most influential Superman works of all time. It really, truly is an incredible book. The paneling is really basic for the most part, but also really effective. But the thing about Lex getting these powers for 24 hours, he can finally see the world the way Superman sees it. He can see the fundamental building blocks of the universe. And when he does, it hits him. Lex Luthor finally gets it. We're all connected. We're all in this together. And he realizes that he has been wrong for all of these years. And now his plans are foiled, and Superman is gone. Superman is turning into pure energy. And Solaris poisoned the sun. But Superman is so full of solar energy that he flies to the sun and gives his life to repair it. But we see something. Just one tiny little thing. Dr. Quintum, a man that's been prevalent throughout this whole story, the man Superman saved from the mission to the sun, has something called Project 2. A project to make a new Superman. But I want to say something. When Dwayne McDuffie adapted this to film, I think he made the ending better. I think Dwayne McDuffie's film ending for All-Star Superman is better than Morrison and Team's ending. Let me explain. It shows more of the remorseful Lex Luthor. In this book, it kind of leaves Lex kind of sad and defeated and realizes he's been wrong, but he's like, oh, dang it, I've wasted my life. In the McDuffie screenplay, he actually tries to make some amends by helping Dr. Quintum here with Kryptonian genetics, allowing Dr. Quintum to bring a new Superman into the world. That shows a fundamental change in Lex caused by Superman, and Lex spent his whole life dedicated to getting rid of Superman, and then in his last moments before execution ensures the world will always have one. Incredible. Morrison, they wish they could have done that. And I love this book. Once again, Morrison and team do fantastic work all the time. This is also probably Morrison's least confusing book. For sure, it's Morrison's least confusing book that I've read. But also, the research that Lex gives to Dr. Quintum, a womb is necessary. And Lois has Superman's child. Like, she becomes with child, in vitro fertilization, and she is going to raise the next Superman. And I think that's very interesting, because Lois was a big part of who made Superman who he was. And now she's going to be a big part of making the next Superman who he will be as well. She loved and understood Superman better than anyone else, so who better to ensure that another one continues his legacy? And I know I'm talking about the child as like an object and an investment. I don't mean to do that. Obviously, they're a child. They... You can't force them to be something. But we've seen from the future that all these other Supermen from the continuing timeline love and respect the original Superman. And he inspired them to do good just like he inspired everybody else. So unfortunately, I do have to say, McDuffie's updates far improved the ending of the story. Anyway, you go into the back and you see sketchbooks, cover galleries, etc. I actually really like things like this. I think the sketchbook pages on Clark Kent specifically, I think are really insightful, design-wise. Like, he intentionally hunches and stuff, which you do notice throughout the book, but it's nice to see the thought process behind it, you know? Lots of really cool stuff, little character blurbs and whatnot. It's a very informative bonus features. But once again, if you don't care about bonus features, you could probably save yourself a couple bucks on the just basic version of the trade. But hey, also, it's a great book. Get whatever version of it you can, because All-Star Superman is one of the... You know, I'm going to say it. It's one of the greatest comic books ever written. Period. Period. And that's it. Thank you all very much for your support. I do plan to do more books soon, more Magnolaverse stuff, and more Superman. I actually think the next thing I do might be Superman Doomed. Not super sure. I've been rereading a lot of New 52 Superman and finding that I'm enjoying it more the second time around for a lot of things. I still have my complaints, but I am enjoying it more. So that is it. Thank you all very much for your support. Remember to rate, comment, subscribe. Check out all the cool things down below. We do have a store where we sell comics. Most of our comics are in our physical store, but sometimes we throw stuff up online too on eBay. We got figures, trading cards, etc. as well. That's it. Thank you once again. I'll see y'all next time. Bye for now.